Good morning, everyone. Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing fine. I hope everyone is having a splendid day, morning, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. I really appreciate every single one of you who have joined me this morning and join me every single morning. Of course, guys, before I start, you know the drill. Please don't forget to smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get to 50 likes before the end of the show. Also, if you can kindly subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also put your notifications on. I don't ask so much, but thank you so much, guys. You're absolute legends. Really appreciate you all. Of course, now, guys, we're going to get into a bit of transfer news surrounding Manchester United. Of course, we're not going to be talking about international football. We're not really interested in international football. It's all about domestic football. And what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the future of Manchester United, because we are Manchester United fans and we want to know the future of Manchester United. Of course, not a day goes by where we are not linked with a player. It's a good thing. It is a good thing that Man United are being linked to players. However, the proof will be in the pudding at the end of the season in the summer, what Manchester United do in regards to players that we're bringing in. Now, we're hearing a lot of names. Some of them are very exciting names. Some of them are not so exciting names. But one thing's for sure, Manchester United have got their work cut out in the summer. They've got a lot of work to do, guys, if I'm being totally real with you, because I always am real with this community, of course, guys. Absolutely. Now, let me get into a little bit of transfer news. First of all, I'm going to acknowledge the elephant in the room. His name is Fermin Lopez. Fermin Lopez. He plays for Barcelona. I mentioned him before, guys. Now, Fermin Lopez, of course, is one of the best up-and-coming players in the world, only 22 years old, incredibly talented player, can play in an array of positions, including the attacking midfield, centre midfield, left midfield, would fill in the void in many positions of the pitch and would be a fantastic signing. Now, this news is coming out of the airwaves in Italy that Manchester United have inquired about Fermin Lopez, about the possibility of bringing him into the football club. Of course, Fermin Lopez will be we're requesting a fee of 100 million euros, guys. That's the bare minimum. One of the best players in the world, if you ask me, if we're talking about potentially one of the best players in the world. Now, the interesting thing about Fermin Lopez, he came from Linares in Spain. Only 50,000 Barcelona purchased him for. He wasn't necessarily from the La Masia Academy. He was actually from Linares. And they signed him from there for 50K. Now, obviously, he's come leaps and bounds, but this obviously goes to show you about scouting, about having your ear to the ground, about finding players, scouting players. Fermin Lopez now is a £100 million player, £100 million player, should I say? £100 million. There you go, £100 million player. And what I would say is that this would be an absolute statement signing if Man United managed to do it. It's the player that we need, obviously, because he can play in an array of positions, various positions, very versatile, attacking midfielder, centre midfielder, left midfielder, both-footed. Now, what I would say is that this is going to be unlikely. I can't see Ineos signing a 100 million player like Fermin Lopez. It's not only about that. I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but also the project has to be one that is absolutely undeniable. Now, what's an undeniable project? An undeniable project is bringing in someone like Luis Enrique. That is what it is. Now, if Manchester United manage to bring in Luis Enrique, transfers like Fermin Lopez won't be so far-fetched. It won't be so unrealistic. Obviously, if Manchester United do bring in Luis Enrique, a manager of that ilk, many players would be more attracted to Manchester United's project. That's not me saying that. That's everyone saying that. And that is just a reality at the end of the day. Looking at us right now, we have to analyze everything critically. As I've always said, is that Man United need to look at things critically and objectively in regards to the managerial situation, who we're bringing in, and what players can we attract with this project. Now, if it's Michael Carrick, it is what it is. We support Michael Carrick. We love Michael Carrick, and we hope Michael Carrick does very well. However, if it is Luis Enrique, I think the job of bringing in players won't be as difficult. And that's just my opinion. I think that a lot of people, a lot of players out there would want to play under Luis Enrique at Manchester United. Bringing Manchester United back to the promised land, so to speak, bringing them back to the top of the tree be absolutely fantastic. Now, guys, moving on, I want to bring in a player that we know about, of course, Antonio Rudiger. Now, Antonio Rudiger is an interesting one. Many people are going to come at me saying it's unrealistic. We're not going to sign Antonio Rudiger. Well, here's a little thing, guys. Antonio Rudiger is on a free transfer in 2026. In the summer, he's on a free transfer. He's 33 years old, has not signed a new contract, has not been offered a new contract so far as I'm aware. Now, his contract expires in 2026. This has alerted the attention of Manchester United, who feel Antonio Rudiger could be like a stopgap in regards to the defensive side of things if Manchester United do have problems in regards to injuries, which we do. Rudiger would be a great signing, of course, on a free transfer. As we know, defenders can go up to the age of 36. I remember Man United signing Laurent Blanc, guys, about that age. So I don't think it would be so far-fetched to bring in Antonio Rudiger on a free transfer. Obviously, the issue with Rudiger would be the wages. The wages would be significant, obviously, because we're not going to be paying a transfer fee for Rudiger. He would be wanted by various clubs around the world, including Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia would also be vying for Rudiger and other countries, other clubs of that ilk. I feel like if it was for the squad, if he signed for Manchester United for the squad, it would be good. It would be good. Also, what I would also stress is that if you sign a player like Antonio Rudiger, he can also nurture the likes of Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro and Kolungi and Fredrickson. And it'll be a good experienced player to have around the place. I would say there is question marks about his attitude. Of course, you may have seen Pep Guardiola and Rudiger the other night exchanging handshakes, if you know what I mean, aggressively. And I would say that is part of Rudiger's personality. That is what he is. And you have to take the rough with the smooth, to be honest with you. I think it'd be a good signing for a couple of years. Bringing Rudiger, 33 years old, it would kill a bird, wouldn't it? At the end of the day, kill two birds with one stone, if you know what I mean. Bringing him in because we got injuries in that defensive third, and we can't rely on what's going on at the moment. And also, he won't cost anything, so it won't stifle. Potentially, won't stifle. It does consider about the wages as well, but it potentially won't stifle the possibility of Manchester United bringing in midfielders, fullbacks, and of course an attack. Of course, guys, absolutely. Finally, in regards to the transfers coming in, Gabriel Sara is a Galatasaray centre midfield, attacking midfield, and central defensive midfielder. Guys, playing for Galatasaray now. He's 26 years old, valued at around 20 million. Now, guys, as I've said, look, I said it yesterday, we will sign certain players that will be good for the squad. Right, it's not necessarily that these players are going to walk straight into the team and they're going to be the mainstay in our team, are going to be the main player. They're going to play every single game. That's not the case. It is all about the squad as well, of course. Now, Gabriel Sara, you may know of him. He did play for Norwich City not long ago, guys. And Man United were linked to him whilst he was playing at Norwich City. He signed for Galatasaray for around 20 million. Man United could possibly acquire Gabriel Sara for about 25 million. He is very versatile. 26 is a good age. Got a little bit of experience, still got a little bit of youthness in him. I think, at the end of the day, it does attract me. These kind of deals attract me. These kind of deals make me feel positive because at the end of the day, I'm looking at the squad as well. I'm not just looking at the first team. I'm looking at the squad. I'm looking at players that can come in, players that could be substituted if we need, if adversity strikes, a red card or an injury or something like that. Now, obviously, Gabriel Sara has performed very well for Galatasaray over the season. A very good player. Got that English football experience at Norwich. So that is a plus, of course. And yeah, look, Man United being linked to these type of players is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And what I would say about this is there's no smoke without fire. It's quite obvious that Manchester United are looking at bolstering the squad as well as fixing the first team. Now, this is a positive, and we can't take everything as a negative. Smile whilst you still have teeth. We have to see what happens at the end of the day. No one knows. One thing's for certain, in the summer, it is probably our most important transfer window in our history. given where we are. Now, we can go two ways. We're third at the moment. Man United can go up or Man United can go down. Now, the most important thing about football in general is to have an element of consistency, and not least in the position that we are in. We need to qualify for the Champions League consistently. Not only that, we need to challenge for the league title. By challenging for the league title, you need a good squad. You need a good squad. You need players in every position. Some may say you need two players in every position. At the moment, we don't have that, right? We don't have that. If we do, we have players that are not quite on the level. Well, nowhere near the level. For example, Casemiro. We lose Casemiro, it's game over. Our team declines, and no disrespect to Ugarte, because Ugarte does his best. It's just not working out for him at the end of the day. But players like Gabriel Sara, and negotiating the window cleverly, maturely, and efficiently would be what the doctor ordered for Manchester United, because at the end of the day, we need a lot of work doing, and we have to wheel and deal in this market, and we have to be shrewd, and we have to be clever. And signing players like Gabriel Sara would be clever. Antonio Rudiger would be clever on a free transfer to bring him into that defence with experience would be clever. And then obviously you can look at the likes of Fermin Lopez if he wants to come to Manchester United, of course. You can look at Fermin Lopez and you can splash 100 million on him and then get another 100 million on Anderson, a player of that ilk. Now, rumour has it is that Manchester United are set to spend around 200 million, a 200 million boost. That does not include an extra 200 million that Manchester United will be acquiring for the players that they're going to be losing, and for also the money that is going to be saved on wages. Now, rumours is Man United are going to let go about 6 or 7 players, potentially, guys. So that is a big thing for Man United, because it obviously does free up space in regards to FFP and PSR, and it does help Manchester United in regards to our transfer budget. Casemiro leaving is 350,000 off the books, of course, which is going to significantly help our FFP and PSR. And then you're looking at the obviously Rashfords, who are on a lot of money, Sancho, who was on a lot of money, and then you've got Rasmus, of course, as well. And that's added to the likes of Mason Mount and Ugarte, Xerxes and Onana, who could be leaving this football club. Manchester United look in line to save around 200 million. Now, that would be a 200 million boost. Now, ideally, with the 200 million that Man United naturally spend, Man United should have an extra 200 million to spend on top of that, which could be about 350 to 400 million net spend, guys. Expenditure in all, not net spend, but expenditure in all. So that's a good thing, and that's promising. That because we do need more than that spend. We do need half of it. We need a Liverpool transfer window. The transfer window that Liverpool had, we need, but better players and better profiles of players. Of course, Liverpool spent 150 million on Florian Wirtz alone. Fermin Lopez was cost 100. Why not go for Fermin Lopez? Why not go for players like that? Why not spend 100 million on a midfielder? You know what I mean? Why not? Why not spend 100 million on, an Anderson and players like that, and spend that 200 million. Then the other 200 million you could spend on bolstering the left back, the right back, and another striker, maybe. Now, speaking of strikers, guys, a little bit of news that is just coming out the airways, guys, an exclusive for you. Benjamin Sesko. Apparently, Benjamin Sesko has interest from Barcelona. Benjamin Sesko is only 22 years old, of course. Guys, scored 10 goals for Manchester United this season. Now, Barcelona are seen to be very interested in Benjamin Sesko. They are incredibly interested in our guy. Now, guys, what do I make of this? Now, apparently, Benjamin Sesko is a little bit disappointed by the lack of start this season, especially since Michael Carrick has been at the club. Now, as we know, Embremo has been playing as the false number 9, and Sesko has been on the bench. I don't agree with that. I think Embremo should play on the right. Armand should be dropped to the bench. Sesko should be playing up front, because I believe that you need a natural number 9 up front to hold up the ball and to score the goals. Benjamin Sesko has not met expectations, apparently, at Manchester United, apparently. And this is what's been said, right, in the media over here, guys, and having only started 3 matches in 2026. Now, I disagree with this. I don't agree with this. I think he's been good this season. 10 goals for the appearances that he's had, the games that he saved against Fulham, the game that he saved against Everton, the game that he saved against West Ham. We all know what happened, didn't we? He saved us in this game. Now, these rumours that are spreading around are absolutely mad, right? At the end of the day, what I'm hearing, subject to all these rumours, is that Benjamin Sesko wants more first-team football. Manchester United are happy with Benjamin Sesko. I believe Benjamin Sesko is a long-term project, and he's a player that is very important to us for the future. Only 22 years old, as we know. We're not going to get a much better striker than the 22-year-old Benjamin Sesko. Let me tell you that right now. Now, the thing is, we have to be careful about rumors that are being spread around, right? We have to be careful. I think it's quite obvious that Benjamin Sesko is a little bit disillusioned by the lack of playing time. I think that's pretty obvious. I would be a little bit disappointed if he wasn't disappointed, if you know what I mean. Every single player, in particular strikers, want to play, want to score goals, right? Benjamin Sesko is happy at Manchester United. Now, this rumour that he's not met standards is an absolute myth. So I want people to understand this, right? There's a difference between Benjamin Sesko wanting to have first-team football, and there's difference between him not meeting the standards. He's definitely met the standards and is meeting the standards. Now, Barcelona have been inquiring about Benjamin Sesko. Of course, Barcelona were interested in Benjamin Sesko before Manchester United sign him, of course. Now, obviously, the media are going to play on this. They're going to say Benjamin Sesko is contemplating a move to Barcelona. They're going to say that. But we have to be very careful here. Of course, a lot of teams are going to be interested in our man, are going to be interested in Benjamin Sesko. But what I would say, and this is my biggest criticism to Michael Carrick, play Benjamin Sesko. He's better as a striker than in Bremo. Improving Bremo to the right, Ahmed off the bench, 60-odd minutes, Ahmed with his pace can cause havoc. That's what you do. Now, Benjamin Sesko came to Manchester United, and he has not started nowhere near enough games for me. And how you meant to get in your rhythm. And every time Benjamin Sesko comes on, he seems to save us, guys. You know, more times than not at the end of the day. But that's just a little bit of extra news there for you guys. Fresh off the airwaves, guys. Just been reported, by the way. Fresh off the airwaves. Benjamin Sesko, Barcelona. For me, absolutely not. Disgraceful. No chance at all. You're not having Benjamin Sesko. If you give us Fermin Lopez, Mark Casado, we'll give you Benjamin Sesko. There you go. How about that? That would be nice, wouldn't it, at the end of the day, guys? Absolutely. Now, a little bit of extra news in regards to Elliot Anderson. Now, of course, Elliot Anderson is Nottingham Forest, sought-after player, of course. Generational, I've been talking about for a while. Rio Ferdinand, the Manchester United legend, of course, stated that Nottingham Forest Elliot Anderson appears to be a leading candidate to come to Manchester United. Rio Ferdinand described him as a very good player and would be very beneficial to the Manchester United squad. No shit, Sherlock, of course. We know Anderson would be a great addition to the Manchester United squad. We all know that he's a very, very good player. Of course, there were some mythical rumours yesterday and clickbait that was saying that Elliot Anderson and Tonali and Gomes and whoever it is are not going to sign for Man United. Doom and gloom merchants at the end of the day. Right now, no decisions have been made. Right now, nobody is discounted. Right? Let me just clear that up for you right now. Obviously, there's going to be clickbaits out there, and you have to be very, very careful what you do and what you listen to, even if they have massive platforms back. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And it's also about the news and the sources that you get the news from. Now, in regards to Elliot Anderson, he's yet to make up his mind. And obviously, he's not made up his mind. And Manchester United have not approached Nottingham Forest yet. Obviously, Nottingham Forest are not willing to sell Elliot Anderson yet. They're not willing to go down that route yet. They're not willing to do that yet in regards to Elliot Anderson because they're waiting for the World Cup. They're waiting for the World Cup. And obviously, if Nottingham Forest get relegated, it looks likely, but they may not. But if they get relegated, Elliot Anderson's price tag is going to decrease. Now, if he goes to the World Cup, I, as well as everyone else knows, he'll probably have a very good World Cup. That means his price tag is going to. This is why Nottingham Forest have gone a little bit silent about Anderson, and Anderson is going to be a little bit silent because they're waiting for the World Cup and they're waiting for the fee to extort, and they're waiting for a bidding war. That's what they're waiting for. Other teams from other clubs from around the world will be coming in for Elliot Anderson, guys. But it is good news that not Rio Ferdinand. Of course, we don't think what Rio Ferdinand says. Love the guy, but we say everything he says, we take it with a pinch of salt. We take everything Rio Ferdinand says with a little pinch of salt, because in regard to Rio Ferdinand, he is the one who says, Qatar got the club. They got the club, love. They got the club, bruv. Now, at the end of the day, that's what I would say about that. But it is pretty obvious that Manchester United are incredibly interested in Anderson. Now, we spoke about Carlos Baleba yesterday. Manchester United have three players that they want to bring to the football club in regards to the midfield position. But Carlos Baleba is split. He's not part of that three. That doesn't mean that Man United don't want to sign him, by the way. Let me just say that. Man United have already done the groundwork on Carlos Baleba. This is why Carlos Baleba is probably the most likely midfielder to sign for Manchester United, whether right or wrong. Whether I agree, whether you agree, whether I don't agree, whether you don't agree. Whether right or wrong, apparently Baleba, groundwork done, verbal agreement and all that is done. Now, Man United want to bring in three altogether, right? And there's going to be two from that three. Baleba, I would like to sign Anderson and Stiller for me, and then you have Baleba and Mainu, and I think that would be good enough for Manchester United at the end of the day. For me, obviously, Anderson is a must. I think Stiller would be a great signing as well. I think he would be a very, very smart signing for Manchester United as well. There's a number of players that I've mentioned as well, obviously Tonali and Guimaraes and other players around here, around Barreras and stuff like that from Atletico Madrid. There's a number of midfielders out there that Man United are being earmarked to be wanted to sign, and there will be a number more in regards to the next few months that Man United will be looking at and being linked to. Right? Doesn't mean that we're not linked to them. It just means that we're linked to them. Doesn't mean we're going to sign them either. We're just linked to them at the end of the day. And I think that this is the one thing that people don't quite understand. Some people don't quite. I've repeated myself in regards to this. Man United have a transfer wish list, and that transfer wish list could be up to about 200 players. And those 200 players will represent that United are linked to and want and are interested in and admire, of course. Man United will have that list of players that we're linked to, and probably, most probable, we will be signing a couple of players from that list. Guys, we're not going to sign 200 players. Absolutely not. We don't. I mean, even that's too many. But yeah, look, I would say that for me, it's always Elliot Anderson and Stiller. And then whatever Man United do from, whether it's a Carlos Baleba, whether it's a Ayo Boyoldi, whether it's a Said Al-Mala, whoever it is, guys, I'll be happy. Because at the end of the day, we got the basis there and we got the two players there that will help Manchester United in regards to that midfield position, which has been a problem for many, many years, guys. Not only months, years, guys. Of course, let me say hello to the community. Hello, community. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream, guys. I hope everyone is blessed, of course, guys. Let me just, guys, big up. Big up everyone who's in the show, guys. Absolutely. Big up everyone. Big up, of course. Let me say good morning to all bars one. Good morning, everyone, of course. Good morning, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Ephraim. Hope everything is blessed with you, of course. Good morning, Paul. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you again, of course. Good morning, Sanjay. Good morning, Amal. Good to see you, my friend. And good morning, Sam. Hope you're doing well. Really good to see the legends in the house, of course, guys. Absolutely. Shamefully, it is a shame that Man United not playing for a while. You know, I think it's disgraceful that we've got this 20 days between games and stuff like that. We had the huge break between Newcastle and obviously the last game, of course, against Aston Villa. We had that huge break. And I think it is so frustrating. Of course, it's frustrating that, you know, we have to wait so long for football to come on, which is why, obviously, it's great that we've got this community and we can talk about Manchester United and we can ignore the international break for a little while. However, I will be doing the one watch along, guys, for Italy against Northern Ireland. I will be doing that on Thursday, guys. So look out for that as well. Absolutely. Morning, Marcus. How you doing? Morning, Kenny. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, guys. There's one player called Mario Barreras. He's a midfielder, guy, talented, everything, succeeded in the Premier League. Already mentioned him, Sam. You don't need to mention Barreras. Playing for Athletic Bilbao. I think it's the Athletic or Atletico Madrid, whatever. He play. I've mentioned him on the show before, friend. Good morning, United. Good morning, my friend. UKG. That's it. Big up UKG. Hope you're doing well. Big up Gregory. Hope everything is blessed. Big up Kenny. Hope you're doing doing well. Sent out on a free transfer. Yeah, we've been linked to him before, Kenny, a long time ago. And Man United are looking at Senai, of course, free transfer, Argentinian player, guys, but also Rudiger. Now, look, Man United do need another defender. You're looking at Man United's injury record in regards to defence. You look at the likes of Licha Martinez. You're looking at, obviously, De Ligt. And to an extent, you have to look at Mazraoui as well. So it is advisable that Man United bring in another defender. We have to bring in another defender. Now, Harry Maguire is signing a new contract. I think he's going to sign a new contract. I think he's in talks right now. Also, Kobe Mainoo will be signing a new contract. That's coming up imminently, which is good news about Kobe Mainoo. I don't know how you feel about Harry Maguire, however, but Kobe Mainoo is signing a new contract to let him settle down at Man United, which will help his career, of course, that he knows his future. I'm delighted he's in the England squad because I think he should be in England squad. However, Maguire looks like he's going to be signing a new contract for Manchester United. Whatever you think about that, we just have to, whatever. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, how do you guys feel about that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Dan, I'll be linked to that. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we're going to be linked to players. We're Manchester United. We're going to be linked to players. Now, obviously, with the protests going on around Ineos, is that Ineos are going to have are in a mind where they want to prove the Man United fan base wrong. This is what they want to do, right? This is the noises coming at Man United. They want to prove the fan base wrong. They want to prove that they care about Manchester United on the pitch. Okay, let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do. So we're linked to these players. We're linked to all these players. Great, yeah, and that's a good thing. If everything is silent and nothing happens, then why are we here for? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, are we thinking about improving? The fact that we're linked to it, and the fact that it's not only that, it's the noises that have been surrounded by Man United. Over here in Italy, I'm hearing Man United are going to kill it in this transfer window. Man United are linked to this, Man United linked to that. I get a lot of news over, which is great. Whilst I'm here, I do get a lot of news. Not linked to players is a worry. When you don't hear nothing about Man United are not linked to anyone. It's a worry. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, but Man United will be linked to loads of players. That's how football works. Big teams get linked to loads of players. Doesn't mean we're going to sign every single player under the sun. It's just that I think I explained myself yesterday about it. Players may be linked to Man United. Doesn't mean they're all going to sign for Man United. Let me give you an example. Jared Branthwaite. We were linked to Jared Branthwaite quite potently. 60 million. Man United were not attracted by 60 million for Jared Branthwaite, quite right. So we went after Lenny Yoro, who was on the list, who was the next one down. Contingency plans. And that's what big clubs do. That's what big entities do. That's what it is. Some people don't have that in between the ears, you know what I mean, in regards to, contingency plans and planning ahead and stuff like that, of course, guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Big up, Marcus. Elaborate, please, have you ever heard any talk about Ineos looking to privately fund a stadium no one wants? They're just putting this team in more debt. I agree with Marcus here in regards to the stadium. It is a private fund, of course, which could potentially put Manchester United in more debt. I'm not interested about the stadium. I'll be honest with you, Marcus. I'm going to be completely honest. I think the stadium should be at the back of the queue right now. I think Man United and the stadium should be, it's the luxury. It's the cherry on the icing on the cake, if you know what I mean. I think Man United need to focus on the pitch, and then sustained success will organically equate to a new stadium with our own money if we're successful. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like when Alex Ferguson used to build the stadium bit by bit, part by part at Old Trafford. But he would do it organically, and we would build the stadium organically, and the stadium, we wouldn't be in debt for it. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, the last thing on our minds, right? I'll be honest, because we could sustain things with Old Trafford. I don't know why we don't just improve Old Trafford, but we can work at Old Trafford until our football team is good enough to play at a new stadium. Look at Tottenham Hotspur. One of the best stadiums in Europe, if not the best, will be playing in the championship potentially. Right now, if Tottenham remained at White Hart Lane and put all that money they spent on the stadium on that team, maybe Tottenham will be successful, and maybe organically they'll be able to build a stadium anyway because they are so successful, and there'll be more winning investors in Tottenham to build a new stadium. This is what we're talking about at the end of the day. Building a stadium, for me, should be at the back of the queue. It should be at the back of the queue, of course. Mark, Gregory, good morning. There is so many transfer rumours during this time where there's no question. There's transfer rumours every day, man. This international break is full of speculation. How much is true? Well, one thing I will say to you, Gregory, you might know by now, is that I don't spit garbage. I don't waste my breath at the end of the day because I am totally against Ineos, the way Ineos are doing things. So I will not fabricate anything to make them look better. Absolutely not. I would tell the truth and I would tell the gospel. What Man United are linked to is what I'm talking about right now. Man United are linked to them. Will Man United sign those players? That's a completely different story. There's a whole new conversation to be had in regards to if we're linked or we're going to sign. We could be linked to players. Doesn't mean we're going to sign players, if you know what I mean. You know, we could be linked to this such and such and such, but not sign such and such and such. But we might sign one of them. You know what I mean? No, it's not throwing everything against the wall and hoping something sticks. It is basically Man United have drawn up a list of players that we are interested in. Some of these players we've been linked to before. Some of these players we've been interested in before, but we didn't do the deal. We didn't have time to do the deal. We didn't have the finances, etc., etc., etc. Absolutely. Kenny, I love Licha Martinez, but he's way too unreliable and unavailable. There's this saying that availability is the best form of ability. Yeah, availability is the best form of ability, yes. And Man United do need to look at this. Sadly, Man United need to look at this. We all love Licha Martinez. We love Licha Martinez, of course. Probably one of our best signings, top 3 since Alex Ferguson retired. Top 2 since Alex Ferguson retired is Licha Martinez. Unfortunately, you know, we can't keep relying on him. We can't, because at the end of the day, the injury record is just becoming too much now. Every single other week he's injured. And as much as we love Licha Martinez, how important he is for Manchester United, we can't rely on him, sadly. And, you know, it's annoying for me because I look at it and I think that, oh, look, it's another position that Man United need to fill. You know, and it is annoying. And then you're looking at Matthijs de Ligt. What's going on with de Ligt? Why have we not heard anything about de Ligt? Is his injury long-term? What's going on with de Ligt? You know, and we have to look at this really critically and think, you know what? Thank God we got Lenny Yoro. Thank God we got Aiden Heaven. And we can't rely on youngsters. Absolutely not. I know we can't rely on youngsters. We've got Masraoui. He can play in that position. That's great. But Man United do need to bring in an experienced defender. Or say someone like Rudiger. Someone like Senay, as you said there, Kenny. Someone like that. I think that would be a good move for Man United to bring in an experienced defender. And also the experienced defender could nurture defenders, of course. People underestimate when we signed World Cup winner Laurent Blanc, how he nurtured the players in that team and added vital experience in that back line, who was relatively experienced when we had John O'Shea and we had Wes Brown and players like that. Jonathan Curtis we had as well for a period, Jonathan Spector and players like that. But, you know, we need an experienced defender. We do need an experienced defender in there who can act as a leader. Do you know what I mean? If you know what I mean. Morning, Robert. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, guys. Big up, Sam. Enrique, to me, is what United needs. Look at how Pep Guardiola turned Man City to become an elite club. Absolutely. Enrique, to me, is the best option for us if we want to where we belong. I think you're right, Sam. That's my opinion. That's your opinion. I agree with you, Sam. I think you're absolutely right. I think Enrique is the guy for Man United. I think that. I think it's important. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I agree. Why is Danny Welbeck being selected? Why hasn't Danny Welbeck been selected? He's been at a good form lately. Age, I think it's 35, something like that, 34, 35. I think it's age. I would much rather Danny Welbeck than Dominic Solanke. That's one thing I would say, you know. When we sold Danny Welbeck, Louis Van Gaal, thank you very much, by the way. Louis Van Gaal ridiculously sold Danny Welbeck. It was a stupid decision. And he's gone on from strength to strength. Whether he was playing for Arsenal did sell him as well, of course. But you know what? One thing I would say about Danny Welbeck, he does suit a team like Brighton. He does suit a team, but he's always been a goal scorer. When he used to play for England, he used to score a lot of goals for England as well when he used to play for England. I would much rather Danny Welbeck, honestly, guys, than, you know what I mean? I would much rather that than that. Or Jared Bowen, for example. Jared Bowen, what does Jared Bowen do? What does he do for England? Nothing. I would much rather Danny Welbeck play for England than those. Do you know what I mean? To spend years, need a better place soon, almost as the season is over. Yeah. Ed, we should be getting Enrique first before purchasing players. Maybe they already have something in place. You don't know. But we do have a lot of work to do, Ed. We can't leave it to the back of the queue. You can't say that, you know what, let's sign players when Enrique comes, because that could be at the end of July, and then we're screwed. We have 7 players in. So obviously, Enrique can work with talented players. He knows what talented players, but, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Kenny, Sesko hat-trick against Leeds. Bookmark this. Come on, Kenny. Let's hope so. Barca are cheap stats. Pick up, my friend. Carrick, don't screw this up. Start Sesko from this point on to drop Ahmad to the bench. Simple for me. Me too, my friend. Having a good striker is like a quarterback in the NFL. When you find a good one, you lock them up. And you know what's the good thing about it is, Marcus, is that, you know what, confidence for a striker is imperative. It's important. It's unmatchable. When a striker is important, you play him every game. Now, I know that strikers, sometimes are good off the bench. Sesko has been good off the bench. But he needs to start, and he needs to start consistently. This is the thing here. You don't just play him, take him out, play him, take him out. That's going to ruin his momentum. And that's the thing about it. It's going to ruin his momentum. And, he's not going to get that confidence and that feel for the club. You need him consistently. I think Michael Carrick is being a little bit scared with Sesko. He's a little bit like, I want to fill up the midfield with similar players, Cunha and Bremo, Bruno, Ahmad. They're all similar players. You know what I mean? So he wants to fill it up. You need that focal point up front. Right? Whether you play Ahmad on the right, whether you play in Bremo on the right, I would play in Bremo's 20 goals season from the right. You need to play that consistently. Not one game. Oh, it's not worked out. How many times has in Bremo not worked out at number 9, false number 9? It's not worked out hardly ever, has it? So at the end of the day, put Sesko out, play Bremo on the right, Cunha on the left, Bruno number 10, done and dusted. And that's what we should do, And that's my biggest problem with the team selection at the moment, at the end of the day. Of course, we have to thank Carrick. Listen to this one, guys. We have to thank Carrick for getting us into the Champions League. What do you think about that? We have, so we wouldn't even be having this conversation. No, we were 3 points off 4th place. We would have been 3rd if we didn't have the AFCON, John, right? If Amram was in charge, we would be in the top 4. I predicted we'd get in the top 5 at the beginning of the season. We would be there, right? Whatever would happen, the ins and outs and nooks and crannies, I'm not psychic. One thing I will say, guys, we're not talking about Amram anymore, but one thing I will say is that you think that we wouldn't be in the championship. I debate different. I think we'll be actually in 3rd place, the same. I think the same. There's no reason for me to think otherwise. I would like to see Carrick negotiate the African nations, for example, when we were missing Ahmad and Mazruri. I don't think it's true, John. I disagree. Obviously, no one knows. Right, that's number one, and that's hypothetical. I would say that. But what I would say is that I believe we would have been in the Champions League, and Ruben Amram left us in a position. What we have to thank for Ruben Amram, he left us in a position to have a chance to qualify for the Champions League, because we will be having this conversation because we're only 3 points away from 4th place, and obviously we had a game in hand at that time. Now, also he got rid of the toxicity around Man United, the Rashfords, the noisy crew. Do you know what I mean? And we have to remember that as well. I think it's very important that you remember that. We don't use this channel to beat up other managers, or managers use to manage us. There's a lot of problems at Man United, and that will be seen next season. If it's Michael Carrick, you will see next season the problems at Man United, and you will see Man United struggle if he's not back to the levels that we have to be back. What I would say is that no, we would be in the top 4. I predicted it at the beginning of the season. That's my prediction. That's your prediction. I respect it. That's your prediction. Doesn't mean it comes true. How many predictions come true? I actually think that we'll be even better off. That's my prediction, right? And so people can say whatever they want about him, but that's what I think, Gregory, Barcelona is interested in Benjamin Sesko. Barcelona should pay us for Rashford before they attempt to probe us for the players. Besides, we are not selling Sesko. Let's hope not. If Carrick was in charge for the Europa League final, we had Lamens in goal, we would have won it and get Champions League. Manchester United is a club that should be always been a Champions League. Yes, but we didn't have Lamens against Tottenham, mate. We didn't sign Lamens in when we were playing Tottenham. Lamens was not playing for Manchester United during that final. So, and it's the thing, when a manager gets brought into a football club mid-season, they're left with the chaos at the football club that has been there for a long time. This is what we have to remember, and we have to show respect for. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of problems last season. John, we had Onana in goal. Yeah, should have gotten a men's last season, to be fair. Yeah, but we didn't, did we? And that's the board, not Ruben Amorim. Where will Barcelona get the money from to buy Sesko? Look, can I tell you, Sam, where they get the money from? Give us Casado, give us Fermin Lopez. We're moving. Sesko will score goals for us. He is young and still learning. He will score more goals next season. I agree. However, what I would say, it's not just about Benjamin Sesko. It's about, obviously, Michael Carrick and what Michael Carrick wants to do. Michael Carrick needs to start playing Benjamin Sesko as a starter, definitely. Kenny, we had a couple of players missing when we drew against Wolves and Leeds. Amorim would have us finish 4th or 5th, which is still Champions League place. I think 3rd. I think even higher, mate. I think 3rd. I think there's some games we would have won. Maybe some games we wouldn't have won, but that's all hypothetical. That's all in hindsight, hypothetical speaking. We don't know. One thing I would say is that, weighing things up, when the players came back from the AFCON, I think we would have done well. Big up Sal in the chat. The ratio of people watching to likes is awful. Let's get the likes up. People also guys, look, I've had 70 online today. Guys, please, could you kindly smash a like on the video? That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. You guys, absolutely. Absolutely. Seems like the links are agent driven. They are either looking for moves to United or seeking improved contract. Could be at UKG. Could be obviously with the players that we know about. They could be fishing for new contracts. Absolutely, but high contracts, should I say? The owner of Old Trafford had one game left at Old Trafford. The owner of Old Trafford had one game left at Old Trafford. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Sal, I saw we are linked with Murillo. He seems good on the ball, but an aerial defense is what concerning for me. He can defend, yes, but when it comes to headers, most of the time he gets dominated. I agree, Mandem. Big up Mandem, by the way. I agree. He's a good player on the ball. Typical Brazilian defender, of course. He's a good player on the ball. I agree with you, Mandem. I think there are suspects in regards. I think there are issues in regards to his defending. I think that. I agree with that. Playing for Nottingham Forest is difficult. There are a number of players at Nottingham Forest that I like. Murillo, Sangare, Gibbs, Anderson, of course. They've got a few good players and they should be nowhere near the relegation zone at the moment. But what I would say in regards to Murillo, I agree with that. I think that, especially if you take into account his transfer fee. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, his transfer fee is astronomical, of course. Spot on, Sal. Let's build the team first before we link at the stadium. Look at Spurs. They have lavish stadium, but they are gross dross on the pitch. They should first focus on win trophies. Exactly. This is what you need to do first. First, do your bread and butter. Win trophies. Do you know what I mean? Win trophies. Would I buy, guys, answer me this question. Would I buy an extra small, tight fit T-shirt if I had a beer belly and I was 100 kilos? Would I do that? Or would I first look at fixing my body, getting a little bit in shape, losing some weight, and then buy a skin-tight, skinny jeans and all that business? Do you think I would do that? You think I would go out there and buy a skinny T-shirt? Do you think I'll go out there and buy the new Man United jersey on extra small, and have a beer belly and be fat and be delusional? Or do you think I'll concentrate on fixing myself and then obviously in time, organically, I could buy myself a nice small Manchester United jersey or the old Italian Kappa shirt, which is really tight, by the way. You know what I mean? And that's what you have to say. You have to think about priorities first. And I just don't think, this is what I'm saying. This is why we called Jim Ratcliffe the Vanity Project owner. This is why we called him the Vanity Project. This is why. Because the stadium is vanity. It's a vanity project. The stadium is a vanity project. And that's what I would say about it. Mark, you legend. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Morning, Sal, in the community. How are you, my friend? Everyone hit the like and subscribe. Big up, Sal. Thank you so much, Mark, you legend. Thank you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Big up, Sal. We're so data-driven, but we still have the thing for injury-prone players. I thought they checked talent, profile, character, and injury record. Let's see next summer. They check that. Yeah, well, Gomes is injury-prone as well, of course. Big up, man. Hope you're doing well. Why would Barca even talk about Cesar when they haven't even paid for Rashford? How do these guys view us? Clowns, mate. The must think that we're dumb to let them even have links with Sesko. Well, at the end of the day, as I said earlier, Mandem, give us Casado, give us Balde, give us Fermin Lopez. I will be talking. I'll be talking. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and then we'll give you Sesko. Guys, absolutely. On another fan channel live streaming daily immediately after Sal's, probably Adam Matic, FUTV, by the way, big up Adam. Sal's stream, they insist we should have Carrick manager the next club next season, and that Luis Enrique would be an error. Seems incorrect. Look, Gregory, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not the oracle of football, mate. I'm not the oracle of football. There could be a manager in the 3rd division in Italy that will be the next Alex Ferguson. We don't know. But one thing's for certain, you have to look at things based on averages. You have to look at things based on what's the biggest chance Man United are going to be successful? What's the best chance Man United are going to be successful? What's the biggest opportunity for Man United to bring in quality players? Who gives Man United the biggest opportunity to bring in quality players? Carrick or Luis Enrique, right? Carrick or Luis Enrique, right? Luis Enrique represents a lesser risk. Yes, he might be more expensive. He might want more. But in regards to success to Manchester United, he would represent a lesser risk to Manchester United because he's a better manager all round. It's a fact, right? Champions League winner, builds a team based on youth, doesn't just buy Galacticos, good man manager, good tactician, plays good football, great person, everything you want in a manager. Michael Carrick, ex-player, legend at Manchester United, may be a good player based on a hunch that he might be a good manager, should I say, based on a hunch. And that's what it is. We're basing it on a hunch. Luis Enrique is proven, now European champion. Carrick is a hunch. And these are basic facts, guys. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not Willy Wonka. I'm not going to come out here and gaslight you in anything, right? At the end of the day, let me tell you something right now. I have Liverpool fans, right, that tell me they would love Michael Carrick to stay as manager of Man United because they don't see him winning the league for Man United. But they see Luis Enrique winning the league for Man United. That's from Liverpool fans and that's from Arsenal fans, right? They see it from a point of view, a neutral point of view in regards that we see it from a different level. We see football on an emotional side, isn't it? Because we love Carrick and we would love Carrick to come in, just like we loved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to come in and be successful and win trophies and things like that. You know what I mean? It'd be great if Michael Carrick can stay at Man United and become. But I have to kindly disagree with our friend FUTV. Of course, I don't think that is a given. I think that nothing is certain in life. In regards to Carrick, we've been here before, right? And we have to look at things. Some may say it's PTSD. Some may say, you know what, you can't paint everyone with the same brush. That could be a thing. But however, what I would say is that what we have to analyze is what would a Barcelona, what would a Real Madrid, what would a Manchester City do? What would they do? You know, and that's what we have to say, at the end of the day. And we have to be looking for the best now, If Luis Enrique for me was available, I get Luis Enrique. If Luis Enrique is not available and he doesn't want to come to Man United, then the conversation is to be had about Michael Carrick staying on at Man United. But let me just say this. If Michael Carrick stays at Man United, I want them to treat Michael Carrick like they would treat Luis Enrique. And what do I mean by that? Basically, the transfer funds, the players that he needs, the respect that he would require. I want us to treat Michael Carrick with respect. That's what I want at the end of the day. And I don't want to sign in Michael Carrick and say, well, you know what? It's Michael Carrick. He's going to be happy whatever he gets. We give him a couple of 100 million, sign a couple of midfielders. He'd be fine with that. Absolutely signing Aratara. And that's what it is. I don't want that. Because I know that if they brought in a Luis Enrique, they're going to be kissing Luis Enrique's backside. And bending down backwards for Luis Enrique, giving him whatever he wants. They need to do the same with Michael Carrick. And that's what I would say about it. If Michael Carrick does indeed get the job, they need to do the same with Michael Carrick. Prince, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, of course. Guys, absolutely. Good to see you. Absolutely. Glazers out, Ineos out. Absolutely, mate. All day long. I want to hear news of us all going all out for Enrique. They should do the groundwork first and if all fails. They can then consider appointing Carrick. I just don't want us to get. I agree, Mandem, and this is a great comment. This is what we're talking about. There's like, how to say, avenues to your comment. There's parts to your comment. There's detail in your comment, and it's important that we look at details. I don't deal with agendas. I don't deal with giddiness. I don't deal with overzealousness. I don't deal with over pessimism. I don't deal with that. I deal with facts, right? I deal with facts in regards to whether Man United are linked to that, whether Man United are going to get that manager, whoever, whatever it is. I deal with facts, what I hear, right? And from who I hear. And we have to look at things critically in regards to Man United. Why? Because it's a critical period for Manchester United. It's a critical period for Man United, a very critical period. Now, Michael Carrick, guys, let me tell you something about Michael Carrick, just to say something. If England played Michael Carrick instead of trying to fit Gerrard and Lampard, because I think Scholes should play, instead of trying to fit Gerrard and Lampard in the team, if they played Carrick and Scholes, England would win tournaments. England would win tournaments. There was one game I remember. I can't remember what it was. I think it was against Croatia. England played them away and they won by 5 or something like that with Carrick in the team. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I bringing this into the conversation? Simple. Because Carrick was a brain on the pitch. Carrick did not have to sprint. Carrick did not have to run. He did not have to backtrack and make last-ditch tackles. Because Carrick he read the game so well. He was 3-4 steps ahead of everyone else as a player, right? Now, I'm looking at the games that have been at Michael Carrick. I've analysed every game. I think we've been lucky in some games, but luck is a skill as well, by the way. You can make your own luck. Luck is a skill. That's a character. That's good. I think that's improved a little bit. But obviously, I've seen a lot of bad things. I've seen the same characteristics that I've seen from these players in many years. I've seen similar things to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which I'm a little bit concerned about in regards to the style of football that we play. I look at that Newcastle game when we went down to 10 men, and when Newcastle went down to 10 men and we didn't even breathe on their goal. I look at the Crystal Palace game where we were lucky to get a penalty. We were playing against 10 men and we could have easily drawn that game. Obviously, I look at the games against West Ham when we had one shot after 80 minutes. And I look at that and I have to look at that and analyse it. But nothing is perfect. I know nothing is perfect at the end of the day. Carrick is not a perfect manager. Carrick is not the Messiah. Carrick did not get Middlesbrough promoted, right? Neil Warnock will get Middlesbrough promoted. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. But the thing is, what we're talking about, I'm not going to paint him with the same brush. I'm going to give Michael Carrick an opportunity. I love Michael Carrick, and I would emphasise, but criticism is part of football, and analysing is part of football, and praising is part of football. As I've said, I told people about the things that I love about Michael Carrick, the character, the never say die, getting back into the games, right? And we're winning matches, more matches than we're not winning, right? And that's a good thing, of course. Yes, Sal. Adam Scott's channel. Yeah, they want the bird in the hand, the coach that at the end of the day, I understand that, he wants to be comfortable, wants to be in a comfort zone. But let me just tell you something about life in general. Greatness was not built from comfort zones. I was in the music industry 20 years. I went from East London in Leytonstone to working with Shady Records and G Unit. Do you know what I mean? Greatness was not, and I'm not saying I'm great, by the way, but great things were not achieved with comfort zones. Let me just say that right now, okay? Great things were not achieved with comfort zones. That's what I'll say about that. And that's my answer to that. We have to wait, of course. We've seen how tricky this season was. Next season will be even more tricky. We should be well prepared to compete, as all four competitions won't be easy. Can the board just be serious for once? Absolutely. Kaylee, Carrick deserves a chance. He probably will get his chance, Kaylee. He probably will. I think he will. I mean, even though I think Luis Enrique will be better, I think Carrick deserves his chance as well. If he gets us in Champions League, if he wins the next 7 games, why not? Yeah, great. Fantastic. He's a legend. Man United, give him the chance. But, what I would say is this, and I will say this very clear. If you have one chance to bring in Luis Enrique, one chance, what are you going to do? Because Carrick is a hunch, right? And that's what I was saying. For me, there's only one manager. It's Luis Enrique. Other than that, just get Carrick. Just have Carrick. But if Luis Enrique, for me, is available, I'll get him. But looking at the way things are, the likely scenario, right? Carrick will be given the opportunity. Carrick will be given the opportunity, right? But as I said earlier in the show, Kaylee, I said if Carrick gets the opportunity, they need to look at him like Luis Enrique. And they need to back him like Luis Enrique. And they need to give him what he wants, like Luis Enrique, right? And they need to give him the authority like they would do to Luis Enrique. And that's what I would say about it. Mandem, spot on. Carrick, they choose. They should back him in the transfer window. They can't expect him to get the results he has this season in the next season without backing him. Absolutely. And it's not just about Carrick, guys. There's a number of problems that I have about Man United that I'm very skeptical about. It's not about Carrick. It's about the players. It's about a bunch of players in that team that are very, very good at deceiving, manipulating, and playing when the chips are up and not playing when the chips are down. And I think this happens. This has happened already. You can see characteristics already. Those who are analysing the game, the Newcastle game, for example. Newcastle are crap, by the way, and we couldn't beat them. We couldn't even have a chance to beat them when they were 10 men, right? And what I would say is this, right? This is not a managerial problem, by the way, right? You could talk about tactics all you want, but this happened against Everton. There were a number of players that in our team that are duplicates, right, of the same personality that they had under Erik ten Hag, that they had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that they had under some of them under Jose Mourinho. And we still have them playing for our football club. You are not going to turn certain players into mentality monsters if they've been mentality bottlers for years. This is what I would say. You know, you're not going to do that. And one thing that needs to happen, and I think Michael Carrick is part of this as well, if he does get the job, one thing that needs to happen is that the whole club, right, need to clear out the players that have been there for years. I'm sorry, guys. Mate, obviously, I'm not talking about Bruno. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the players, the Dallos, the Shaws, right? These type of players, right, that have been there for years. Rashford needs to leave, of course. Maguire maybe needs to leave. You know, there are players there that have been there for years that have serially failed. Richard Ramirez FC. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, serial failures. Absolutely. I don't trust in your club's ownership to properly back Carrick to the extent Enrique would demand and receive. I don't think so either, Gregory. I really don't. I don't think they will give him what he needs. Look, we've been fairly fortunate this season. And I'll be honest, guys, that this league season has been diabolical. The quality in this league season is absolutely in the mud, right? It's in the mud. Like I said, and I'm not exaggerating, guys, the Southampton team of the 90s would win this Premier League title or at least get in the Champions League. That's how poor this league is, right? This league is not going to be that poor next season. Trust me. Liverpool, Florian Wirtz, Ekitike, Frimpong, Kirkes, they're going to have a year more experience. They're going to sign more players. Chelsea may get it right this time. May get rid of Liam Rosenior and get a world-class manager in. You know, you look at Man City, who are going to bring in players as well. You know what I mean? So we have got a great opportunity. We've had a great opportunity this season, right? And we've done all right. We're in third. We want to qualify for the Champions League, and it'd be great. Do you know what I mean? And it's not going to be like that every single season. So it's important that Manchester United back Michael Carrick if Michael Carrick stays at Manchester United. And also what I would say is this. I don't want us thinking that we sign a couple of players and it's going to be all hunky-dory, flowers and rainbows. You know, it's not. Because we have to keep in mind that Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal will sign players. We'll sign players as well. So we don't only have to have a good window. We have to have a generational window. We have to have a window that you're like, wow. You know what I mean? What a window that was. Do you know what I mean? We have to have that sort of window. You know, and do I see Ineos and the Glazers having that sort of window? I would not put my mortgage on it. You know, I would not do that. Absolutely not. I would not wear a blindfold around them or anything like that. You know, I would not do that. I do not trust them. Of course I don't. But we do need a generational window. Mandem, it would be ideal to see City or Liverpool do the groundwork for Enrique and get him while we just gave Carrick the job without trying Enrique on board. Fair point, Enrique. Fair point, Enrique. Fair point, Mandem. Mandem, Enrique. Big up. Thank you so much, Albie, for becoming a member. You're an absolute legend. These are the reasons. Albie, you are the reason. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. A member for 9 months, guys. Guys, look at that. Albie supports the channel. Thank you so much. Guys, I will read out everyone's channel. I've got some great content, by the way, Albie, coming for the members very soon. and I'm going to get all the members involved. Thank you so much for becoming a member, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really appreciate you every day. LT, the media is just pushing that Carrick should get the job because they know this current football is unsustainable. We are actually creating less chances under Carrick than we did under him. Yeah, we are. But people don't analyze football deeply like that, LT. People look at football, like I said, like caveman football. People look at football like I get ball, I kick ball in goal, 1-0. That's how they look at football. Literally, quite literally, that's what they do, right? We look at football in the ins and outs, the nooks and crannies, the background, what's going on behind the scenes, the style of play, the dominating, the XGs. We look at football completely different, right? At the end of the day, you know. And for me, like for people who could sit here and speak for an hour without a spreadsheet, without Google, we know about football. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and articulating your point and talking about why Man United are not succeeding is precisely what I've been saying for years and years and years, having watched Man United for the last 40 years. You know, and it's about time they listened, and it's about time they did what you said, LT. They need to have an adjudicator. They need to have a professional meeting at the end of the season and analyze things from every single angle, even if we're in the Champions League. And that's what they need to do. Absolutely. Big up UKG. This summer, Manchester United have a real opportunity to fix a decade of mistakes, get the right manager, bring in the right players, and finally clear out the dead wood. UKG, my guy. I mean, at the end of the day, that should be written on a plaque, mate, because that's what we've been wanting for a long time. You know what I mean? We've been wanting this for a very, very long time. Do you know what I mean? And I agree, mate. I agree. It's a godsend that we need to do that. We need to do this. We've been trying to do this for years, of course, absolutely, but we haven't done it. We haven't finished the job, so to speak. Big up United, man, them. Of course, we haven't finished the job. Also, remember, if they choose Carrick, they shouldn't only back him in the summer window. They should back him in the next January window, absolutely, as the signings in January help close out this year. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. It depends what they do in the summer window as well, isn't it? At the end of the day, it depends what they do. Absolutely. Guys, I want to thank everyone. Sorry I can't go through everyone's messages. I'm over the time. Guys, absolutely. Yeah, go and check out FUTV. Don't know him, never have, but I support every single content creator. So we all have different opinions, of course. And yeah, good luck to them. And guys, big up Adam Scott, Adam Matic, of course. Have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are in the world, guys. I'm Sal, and this is Breaking Dawn, as it always is, guys. Have a great day, guys. See you later on. Guys, by the way, sorry, I will be live on Judge Mo's channel today. I will be live on Judge Mo's channel. And keep your notifications on so when I go live. So it will be about 5 p.m. UK time. So I'll be there, guys. So support your boy. Check out the videos that are going to be uploaded. Everything that's scheduled. Drop your likes. Drop your comments. Support the videos. Let's push up. Onwards and upwards, guys. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day. See you soon. Peace.